I'm Arin, I'm host of the Scaling Tech podcast here in Prague in the Czech Republic with Alexander Pozdniakov from First Line Software, here to talk about software development in Europe. Alexander, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me here in your beautiful office. I appreciate it very much. So let's start. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about First Line Software, please?
My name is Alex Pozdniakov. I work as a Chief Operating Officer for First Line Software, and we are now in the Czech branch of our software, of our company, and in custom software development business more than 20 years. And in this company, we'll be celebrating the 15 years of existence in late December this year.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a huge milestone for sure. So tell me a little bit more about when and how it was founded.
This company was founded in December 2009, and the reason for that was very simple. We have a pretty successful business in software development, and the company was sold. And as a management, we were bound to stay with the company as an officer for 3 years. And after this period was over, we understand that we have no other ideas, just to do the custom software development. So we started another company, and by 28th of December 2009, in this company works 3 people. And by end of January, it's already 40, and they started growing and growing and growing again.
Fantastic. So you were one of the founding members then
Yes.
of the company. Yeah, I can appreciate it coming from a custom software development background myself. I've tried to work on some other things at times in the past, but it always just comes back to custom software development for me. Just what I'm drawn to, I guess. So I definitely appreciate that. Tell me a little bit more about the size of the company, and are you all here in Prague?
No, we are distributed quite extensively across Europe and across the globe. We are slightly over 500 people, and we have major offices in the United States, in Boston, in the United States, in San Francisco, and that office is more on the sales and marketing offices rather than development, but we are starting to move our engineers to the United States, and we are growing our presence in the United States in terms of engineering workforce. We have offices in Netherlands, in Germany. We have 2 offices in Czech Republic. Recently we started office in Slovakia, in Bratislava, and the biggest office so far as of today is in Montenegro.
Montenegro. Okay, very nice. That's fantastic. That's a wonderful geographic spread you have there.
It's about the offices, but if you talk about the people, we have people in Vietnam, we have people in Thailand, we have people in Colombia, we have people in Spain, so in Serbia, so we have people almost everywhere in the world.
So the team can work hybrid. You have offices in those 6 or 7 locations that you listed,
but now after the COVID, everything works hybrid,
right.
Unless you face client face to face. So we don't have a front office because we are in the software development. So and we have offices where the people can come and work from the office. But we are hiring excellent engineers wherever we find them.
Wherever you find them, based on the tech stacks that you need for the clients. And tell me a little bit about those types of tech stacks that you work with and the types of clients that you work with.
I would say that there's several dimensions. First of all, we are in a small, medium business because, we are more comfortable to work with, as a new client, to work with the same size client with us, but some of them are growing, seeing that, to a larger corporation. And I would say that we have a very few examples where we work with the giants like IBM, and so usually we have several clients who were acquired by IBM, and then after a couple of years, IBM took all the work in-house. So that's normal. So we don't have a just giant customer. medium, small size companies, mostly in United States. So 80% of our clientele is in the United States. We have quite interesting and growing business in Australia. We have business in Europe, primarily in UK, and 80% anyway is the United States. If we talk about the vertical, we have few like focused area, like the healthcare, like e-commerce area, warehouse logistics area. So where we develop, very deep knowledge about the vertical, and where we provide not just the software engineers, not just the hands, but business analysts, project managers who can do the project from very beginning to deliver it to a customer.
Fantastic. I'm interested, so you said that you have offices in Boston and San Francisco, and initially they were primarily your sales offices, since 80% of your clients are in the US, but you're starting to move engineers there as well, or hire engineers there. Kind of what is that?
We're moving engineers and primarily not in our offices, but in offices of our client.
I see. So you still do some work on site with your clients?
Yes.
So it just depends on the client's preference then, whether they're hybrid or not. And I'm interested too to learn more about, is there a particular reason why your client base is so heavily skewed towards the U.S., the 80%?
It's a well-known particular reason for that, because the U.S. is the biggest market in the world. So that's
fair enough.
Yeah.
Are there? I guess what I'm curious about, are there any challenges that either unique benefits or challenges that cause that difference between 80% in the U.S. and then 20% in Europe, but I think you said mainly in the U.K.?
I think the main reason for that is we would like to have more business from Europe, but Europe is very fragmented. So we have a very long history and work with a client in Germany, but we are just starting to make the first steps to expand our presence in Germany beyond this client. And in each country in Europe, you have to have your own sales. So in Germany, you have to invest in sales. In Germany, in Netherlands, in France, in France,
right.
You have to invest, and it's very fragmented.
Yeah.
And every market is smaller than the US.
Right.
Yes, you invest in the sales and marketing, and you get the faster benefits out of it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
So it's quite natural reason. We are small company. At least we are still feel ourselves as a small startup-like company. So we are very cautious about where we invest, how we invest, and just to make sure that every penny we invest in the marketing bring us some more revenue. So far, it's US is the biggest one.
That makes sense. Obviously, you always go where the biggest opportunities are, but that also makes a lot of sense that all sales are local ultimately, and maybe even more so in Europe, where you have more cultural differences and more language differences than we face in the U.S. Though I'm sure you're doing all your business in English anyways across the company, I imagine.
Yes.
But still, from a sales perspective, helpful to have that local team.
But that internally, when we're talking about it in English, that level of English is not sufficient to do the sales in English. So it's kind of the technical people, when they talk in English, it's not usually fully applicable to in a competition to the other local sales you have.
Right.
So
right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, we do our work primarily, or the delivery of our work is primarily done in Latin America. So the level of English skills is quite strong, but it's still very different between a technical engineer's English skills in many cases versus what you would need in a sales situation. So that makes sense. Can you tell me a little bit about like the typical type of contract model that you're working with your clients in? Are you generally doing like staff augmentation or project delivery, or?
it depends on how long we engage with the client. We have all possible contract models. We are working as extension for clients' delivery forces, like delivery center, so where we provide all level of engineering skills. But Management on the projects depends on the nature of the project. Some project managers here on our side for the client, some project managers on the client side, and we provide only engineering skills. But in general, this contract is a long-term contract for several years, where we limit the budget from a client side, what we can deliver for this budget, on an annual basis. We'd like to move towards a more one-off projects, because we are starting to feel that we can utilize the domain knowledge we received through these years, and this opened for us a little bit the world where we can talk not to IT at the client side, but to the business on the client side. But we're making the first step here. Last year we signed 2 quite big projects in this area. It's too early to say about the success because we haven't delivered in them yet, but it's a very good move internally, because we are able to compete with not with the software development companies, but not only with software development company, but on a level where we talk to the business side, on the client side. So we are moving to this area. For obvious reason, it's a more high margin. So then it's just staff augmentation projects. And we have a long history on getting knowledge from existing projects and getting knowledge about the certain domain areas.
And so it's not, as you're saying, it's not just engineering staffing. And you talked about business analysts and other roles as well. So I guess how do you, being spread across such a wide geography, from not only the Czech Republic, but Vietnam to Colombia, I think you mentioned, having team members. So really just about spanning the globe. Do you find that you can staff those roles from anywhere, or do you kind of you tend to have business analysts either close to the client or in the Czech Republic, or engineers from anywhere, in a given team, I guess, how many countries might be represented in that team?
If we talk about the customer facing roles, as close you have them to clients, that's better.
Right.
Because they have to breathe the same air, they have to talk the same language. So basically for these 2 projects, all management of this project are close to client. It's our engineers, so they travel there, they relocate there, but they're very close to client. You cannot do such projects on a very distant mode, because you may deliver something that client don't expect and don't want to have. So so you have to be very close to client. Engineering force can be spread out everywhere, but management of the project, you have to be very close.
That makes sense. I like that phrase, that the client-facing roles have to breathe the same air as the client. Yeah. That's a good way to express it. So for you, in your work, would you say that when a client comes to First Line Software, are they coming there more around cost savings or talent acquisition or talent shortages? What's kind of the driving force for them?
First of all, there is nobody coming now. Client now are waiting that someone come to them and offer something they need.
Okay.
The only change, I would say, it was since last year that the client started to come responding to our artificial intelligence publication on our website. So that's starting again, that the clients start to come. Okay, let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk. They chat with our chatbot on our website, and found it this useful and started to set up the meeting with our sales force. This is the only type of a client that come. The rest, our sales force and the marketing team, they have to work hard, attend some events, talk to the client, speak on the events. So that's required on the client side.
Oh, that's interesting. So a really hot topic like AI will bring people in from content marketing, and because they're looking for someone with expertise in that, but otherwise you have to reach out to them.
You have to be present at where the
visible.
customers are looking for some certain service.
Yeah.
So we attended with we are partnered with Optimizely. We attended almost every event around the globe that the Optimizely conducting. So we are working with many agencies who are marketing agencies who are offering this service for end client because they are specialists in marketing, they're specialists in how to organize in a certain country and certain industry, the e-commerce side, and we are the engineering force behind them. So we have to be there because if this agency bring their prospective client to this event, they need to show, okay, we are who will provide you, the brain, how this everything will be organized, and these are the people who will be developed. So the customer
Right.
wants to be comfortable with both sides.
Yeah.
Not only the people who are planning
Yeah.
to do something, but with the people who are will be developing later on the solution for them. So we have to be there. So.
As a company based primarily in Europe, but very global at First Line Software, how do you differentiate yourselves when speaking, say, with companies in the U.S., since that's where most of your business is? How do you differentiate yourselves from others in the U.S. or other regions of the world? How do you talk to clients about the unique value you bring, the time zones, and other benefits and challenges?
Look, of course, we have a lot of words, marketing prepared about the differentiators, but we are in a service business. Service business is, I would say, very prone to human decision making, which is sometimes not very logical. You're going to certain place, restaurant, haircut, or something which is represent the service, not always because you like the most of the food or the service there. It's a lot of other factors. So in service business there is a place for everyone. I'm not thinking that we are alone in a certain area in this business. It's thousands of companies like this, but something make each company unique, and we have to find that they're our client. Yes, we do a lot of marketing steps. We trying to explain why we are and where we are better than anyone else, or we believe we are better than anyone else. We have a lot of pioneered things which we are starting to do a little bit ahead of our competitors, mainly because of our size. We are smaller, we are more swift, in making things. But in general, I think we have to be ourselves. It's not about saying that, okay, we are jump higher, we are, our language model is better than anyone else. So we are not playing in this field. We are playing in the field where the customer have to be comfortably receive the result they expect. We are not alone in this world who can deliver a result, but they have to be more comfortable with us than with anyone else. And of course, there is a balance with the price, balance with how we cope with the challenges, how we flexible in the contracting terms, how we're flexible in overcoming, some difficulties, and all of this stuff. It's all in the combination. I think we are just doing our job in a good way, so that most of our customers is references from existing ones. So we have 90% of repeated customer base. So
That's fantastic.
That's where we are.
Is there anything about any special? Are there any special concerns that U.S. companies should have in general with working in a firm in Europe? Like anything around, say, European labor law, or anything? Things like GDPR we hear about most often in the U.S. when it comes to design of systems. But what about working with companies based in Europe? Is there any special concern we should have?
I think we try to avoid any data we are hosting with our clients. So we're trying to push it out. So we're not touching the production base because it's ignite a lot of legal work, and we are too small to overcome these obstacles because the US have their own data protection, Europe their own data protection. In every country there's slightly differences in the data protection, and we just too small to develop something for hosting any customer data on our side. So we limit ourselves to, okay, we deliver the code, we are not touching your production base, or we're touching your production base when we are in the same territory than the customers, we are on the same law. But my personal view, we are now facing a very deep challenge in a data protection because the world become more and more open. We are, as individuals, we are leave more and more digital trace and available everywhere, and we have more and more strict data protection. And in reality, we can see that even the very strong law everywhere, it doesn't help to protect the data. So this have to be somehow solved because it's not normal when you are submitting, I don't know, when you're submitting your CV to a company in the United States from Europe, you are not violating any law because you are submitting. But if someone else submitting your CV, it's already violating a number of laws. So because for everything this person have to get your permissions, it's become too complicated that the people can follow these rules. And I think it's starting the time to a new resolution of how we deal with that, because we see a lot of publication in the press when they are journalists obtain so much data about the individuals, seems to be protected under this law, but data is still available, so it's violated. But it's kind of become a visible contradiction between what is required to be and where the real life is. In some cases, in the real life is. So it's have to be somehow synchronized. Making the law more strict doesn't help anymore.
Yeah.
So it's my personal view on the situation. But as a company, we try to push out the any data. We are not hosting any data. We are in a software development, so we are doing this only for. We're providing you the source code, injecting your build, so take it from GitHub, and then you are that. And another aspect of this is how to deal with AI, because basic question, you ask AI to write, to explain to you the piece of code, when you cut and paste it in your source code, who wrote this code? Who own this code? It's a lot of question. They seem stupid a little bit, but in reality, when you go to the court, they don't have the stupid or not. They have is it by book or not by book. So that's different. I think we are on a cutting edge when something have to happen to solve this situation. Otherwise, we all tight. We have a beautiful technology, but we are limited the area where we can use it. Maybe the big names like Google, Microsoft, they will work with the governments around the globe and come up with something that makes our life a little bit more clear. I wouldn't say easier, but at least clear.
Clear, yeah. No, that makes sense. There are parallels in some of this, I think, to the way in the U.S. we deal with like HIPAA regulations, and it's interesting because the HIPAA law was written in 1995, so completely out of context of the technologies that we work with now, and most of the history of the internet, and so it's a very broad law that can be interpreted in different ways, and so the intentions are incredibly good around patient privacy, but the difficulty of implementing it 30 years later is, it leaves open too much to interpretation. And so I think as technologists, we have to make sure that we are always building high quality, well architected, well tested systems with, privacy and security built into them, because no law is going to tell us the best architectural implementation to do that. We ultimately have to make that judgment based on industry best practices as well as the guidance and requirements of the law. And it's a complicated tightrope to walk, I think, sometimes.
I hope that it's never common. We never live in a time when the law will tell us what architecture we have to use.
That would certainly stifle a lot of creativity in our industry. Mm-hmm. Alexander, I want to learn more about how has AI affected your work, and what do you see as kind of the impact of AI on software development agencies like ourselves?
Oh, do you have another 4 hours?
In 4 hours, there will be a whole new model released that we'll have to work with.
No. In 4 hours, we just did it as a beginning. We started to look at this basically the way a lot of time ago, because we have a fragmented projects on that's some kind of a license plate recognition, something. So we are already did some projects, a commercial project with the help of artificial intelligence on fragments. But the big changes was come obviously when Gen AI was released. Mm-hmm. And it becomes visible that there is not just a very specific areas, but in very general areas. And the race began. We decide that we will not enter into a race to develop, the small projects. Now I cannot follow the all projects based on Gen AI. There's 100 released each day. But we are focused more on 2 areas. One area is how we can make our developers more efficient. Not developers, engineers more efficient. And it's kind of a very dramatic change for the last year, because on the first steps which were taken a year ago, basically when you can create test cases, when you create the certain piece of code out of the Gen AI, now you have a lot of Copilot available in every tool. It's a question how they are benefits, and do you have enough value for the price you have to pay for that? Mm-hmm. But in general, Copilot is very helpful for people. A common challenge with our customers, because not every Copilot, not every tool available in Gen AI is very clear from a sharing data perspective. Mm-hmm. And we have to deal with our customers, because everything we develop for a customer belongs to our customer software development. So we have to seek for their agreement that we are using certain. It makes our life a little bit more difficult, because the customer sometimes they don't know the answer. Right. So sometimes when they don't know the answer and they have a very strict security officer, they just say no. So that's it makes a little bit more worried. But now it's become more and more. OpenAI release, I think, half a year ago, on more or less clear and strict policy how they use, how you can, what type of a contract you have to have with them, that they make sure that no data will be used for later learning the model, so that no customer data leak, and we can deal with the customer. Gemini release, the from Google release, the rules how it will be. So now it's more civilized way how to do it. But the big part of this is how we make our engineers work more effectively. Mm-hmm. We invest in a lot of internally in this. We have a special project, internal project about SDLC, software development lifecycle, and OpenAI. So we look at every aspect where we can use, which tool we can use, how we benefit. Unfortunately, there is, I would say, a lot of unexpected conservatism from development from engineering force. I didn't expect this. I expected, each engineers, they jump into this train and say, okay, now great, it will be. So not everyone is so enthusiastic, but luckily enough, we have enough enthusiasts who will try, honestly say, okay, this doesn't help, this helps a lot, this will save money. But the idea behind this is very simple. Even if we make our engineering force more efficient by 10%, is a huge gain for everyone.
Absolutely.
So just preparing for a planning game, it's a lot of work with that Excel, just getting, the epics to the user stories, do the estimation, just do the preparation work. It can easily be delegated by, a little bit trained, the ChatGPT or Gemini tools. So that it saves you probably 20 minutes. But if you save 20 minutes each playing game in a year, you save a lot of time. Writing the meeting minutes, writing the preparation code, the protocols, so writing a lot of helping documents. Yes, you have to check it. So it's they are not always perfect. You have to check it, but it's helped you a lot. I am using this honestly for reading the side of our competitors. Mm-hmm. It's very simple. You just go, you say, okay, read this side and tell me what's happening on this side since your last run. And they just, I'm driving to the work and they just reading aloud, okay, on this side it will be material placed about this topic. Okay, I can ignore this. Material placed about this topic. Okay, I will come back and read it. Sometimes it's hallucinate and there is no material. Okay, but I have to read it. So. And it saves bits time everywhere, and it's a lot of time you save.
Yeah.
This internal efficiency. Then the language problem. Imagine you are doing the project in Germany with developers with English-speaking developers. In the past, what we do, we write the specification in Germany, we get the specification, hand it over to translation company, then we have to hand it over back to proofreading. That it's a lot of time-consuming task. Now you can upload them, and you can ask the question about this document. Yes, it's not always give you a right answer, but the time you save on not doing this own translation is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's one part of our internal effort, how we are intensify our work and equip our engineers with the tools and the techniques how to use it. Another, how we help our clients. We can later on, not on my computer, but we can later on see the proof of concept we did for one of our client, US-based client. And the client is working in maintenance and real estate. Basically, they have a Spanish-speaking hotline, which is, sometimes it's, okay, there is no time, but there is no calls. Sometimes there's more calls, and the hotline is very busy. Sometimes there's no calls. It's really difficult to understand how many lines you have to do it. And basically, the 90% of this question can be answered quite easy. We developed for them a very simple prototype. When it's AI-based, slightly trained about the typical answers for this, which pick up line, talk as a human to the person, and solve 50%, not 80%, but 50% of the questions. So that's amazing. We develop only integration because all the components, all the modules is already available. OpenAI is available, voice generation is available. So, the training part of a typical question we have about, where to find the keys, how to switch on the electricity, it's, the very basic maintenance question. So the people have when they first enter into the apartment. So it's all solved. And that's possible because just 5 years ago, if someone asked to develop this, it's a multi-million-dollar project. Now, it's very simple. Okay, it's not a $5,000 project, but it's not multi-million.
Yeah.
So that's, and the customer who came to us, sometimes they need a partner who have ability to look at the landscape available tools and combine from these available tools the solution that the customer will like to apply to their business. And they needed to do it fast because they before they invest a lot of money in AI, they need to understand what they gain as a result. And we have a few projects like this. When we started with a proof of concept, that the customer came with a very vague ideas. It looks like it's possible. Can you make it happen and show to us how it looks like and estimate how it will build? We estimate, we build, and they say, okay, it looks like it's feasible, but it's too costly for us right now. So we have this example with, I don't recall, it's UK based on US based, the company for BPO data processing. So basically you submit your photo of your restaurant bill to someone else recognize it, place in the accounting and something. So they said, okay, is it possible with you? Yeah, of course it's possible. But when we recalculated, we said like, look, I have my BPO outsourced somewhere in the Philippines, so they can run on this project for the next 5 years. So for me, investing in this technology now is not the time. But he will come back as soon as he read that these technologies start to develop to the next level, and the project will cost a lot much less. So we are trying to make sure that we are understanding the global trends on AI and understanding the industry we're working, how to help our clients to properly apply AI to their business. So
Excellent.
it's significantly changed what we are doing. I don't see in-house any, let's say, worries about, the testers will no longer need it, business analysts no longer will need it. But I would say it gives a lot of opportunities for people who need to grow, because AI and using any tools of AI don't make any senior more senior. But in the middle range engineers, they can make a senior. They can be performed like a senior in terms of a speed.
Yeah.
They cannot do it in the terms of experience, because experience you gain, over the years on the different various of the project. But in terms of speed, it gives a huge opportunity, because nobody needs just a fast junior. The slower the junior the better, because he has a time to think. But for middle people with 3-5 years of experience, AI is a great opportunity to become more efficient than anyone else.
Yeah. Oh, that's great insight. I appreciate it. I mean, as you talked about, when a project that a few years ago was multi-millions of dollars can now be done in something at least in an order of magnitude lower than that probably. And then at the same time, you have those mid-level engineers who can level up their skills so dramatically. It's no doubt an exciting time to be in technology.
And one of what we like about this, we like to pioneer something. In the past, we were one of the people who pioneer Agile. And people laughing, and then it was, at that time it was extreme programming, the pair programming, and
Right.
they laugh at us and say, okay, you don't have a money for buying the computer for everyone, so that's why you're using the pair programming. But later on, everyone now I don't recall any company that claimed that we are not agile. So it's like
Right.
very very. Surprising thing would be. But adopting AI, now it's very few companies who can show how they're adopting it. Everyone talk about they adopting AI, but very few companies can show how they're adopting AI.
Yeah.
How they adopting AI in a customer project, and how they adopting AI internally. So and being a pioneer is sometimes painful, but it's a good.
But it's a great way to differentiate yourselves for sure, and to be ready for what's coming next in technology. So, Alexander, I want to thank you for a really interesting and fantastic conversation today. How can our viewers learn more about First Line Software, and if there's any other closing thoughts you want to share with them about your work at First Line?
Visit our websites, follow us on Facebook, we have an Instagram, and I was told that we have even TikTok, but I was laughing that when our marketing came to us. Okay, do you have a TikTok account? I said, look at me. Does I look like I have a TikTok account? So I never seen that. But yeah, we have a lot of interest in the videos, and the people are really enjoying working with us. And we have serious materials we have on our website, and fun materials we have on our Facebook pages and Instagram and everywhere. So join our team, and if not as engineers or project manager or other stuff, but follow us. We have a lot of followers and who just sharing our values.
Thank you so much, Alexander. We don't have a TikTok either for the Scaling Tech podcast, but this will be up on YouTube and as well as on our website at scalingtechpod.com. I just want to thank Alexander for joining me for this conversation, this special conversation for the Scaling Tech podcast. Thanks to Alexander for his time and his insights, and to the whole team at First Line Software for the help coordinating this conversation in person here in Prague. And this video was the full conversation with Alexander, but we'll also be taking excerpts of this along with other conversations about software development in Europe for a special episode of the Scaling Tech podcast. So if you'd like to check that out, we encourage you to go look at scalingtechpod.com. You'll see that episode, and subscribe to the Scaling Tech podcast on whatever podcast platform of your choice. And so we really appreciate you. Again, thanks for joining me for this special episode of the Scaling Tech podcast.